The famous British Prime Minister is well known in our country. Some are grateful to him for helping the Allies in the war. Some consider him an eternal opponent of the Soviet state. In this article, we want to talk about some little-known facts from his biography. Winston Churchill's mother was an American. At the end of the 19th century, British aristocrats quite often married American heiresses. One such was Lord Randolph Churchill, third son of the 7th Duke of Marlborough. He became engaged to Jenny Jerome, the daughter of a wealthy financier from Brooklyn. The couple had 2 children, Winston in 1874 and Jack in 1880. However, the relationship allegedly soured, and Jenny was often absent from the country. She remained in England after Lord Randolph's death in 1895 and married twice more, in both cases to men 2 decades younger than her. His daring escape from a POW camp brought him instant fame. After graduating from Sandhurst, Churchill went to Cuba, where he wrote about the uprising for a London newspaper. He subsequently served as war correspondent and officer, a dual role allowed at the time, in India, Sudan, and South Africa. On his arrival in South Africa in 1899, his armored train was ambushed by the Boers, descendants of the Dutch settlers who were fighting the British at the time. Churchill was captured and sent to a prisoner of war camp, from which he soon escaped by climbing the wall that night, although 2 of his fellow prisoners turned back. Lacking a precise plan, Churchill fortunately stumbled upon the home of the manager of a British coal mine, who hid him in the mine for 3 days and then sent him in a wool wagon to Mozambique. From there, Churchill boarded a ship to South Africa and rushed to the front as a newly minted hero. Most of his famous speeches were delivered a few months apart. Churchill became Prime Minister in May 1940 after the disastrous outbreak of World War II, in which Nazi Germany invaded much of Europe. A master orator, he did his best to rally the nation in the face of an almost inevitable attack, giving 6 major speeches in 4 months. In the first of these, he declared to Parliament that he had nothing to offer but blood, hard work, tears, and sweat. On June 4th, he similarly declared, "We will defend our island, whatever the cost. We will fight on the beaches, we will fight on the landing grounds, we will fight in the fields and the streets, we will fight in the mountains. We will never surrender." And on June 18th, as France was preparing to submit to the Nazis, he told his countrymen to prepare to do their duty and hold fast, so that if the British Empire and its Commonwealth lasted 1,000 years, people would still say, this was their finest hour. Churchill popularized the term Iron Curtain. Despite his fears about communism, Churchill gladly allied himself with the Soviet Union during World War II. Later, however, he began to harbor serious misgivings about the Soviet Union's aims. In a speech in March 1946, he spoke of the Iron Curtain descending on the continent. Beyond this line, he said, countries are under a very high and in many cases increasing measure of control by Moscow. From then on, Western officials constantly referred to the Iron Curtain when referring to the USSR. He received the Nobel Prize for Literature. Churchill wrote volumes of books during his life, the first of which detailed his army experiences in India, Sudan, and South Africa. Later he wrote a biography of his father, a biography of the 1st Duke of Marlborough, numerous volumes on World Wars I and II, a history of English-speaking peoples, and one novel that he urged his friends not to read. In 1953, serving his 2nd term as Prime Minister, he received the Nobel Prize in Literature for his mastery of historical and biographical description and his brilliant oratory in defense of high human values. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel.